Hi folks, and welcome back to the campaign vlog and a update of what's been going on over the past couple of weeks. First up, the engagement against the French and the Austrians. The Austrians lost this battle. Unfortunately, with some very poor casualty dice rolling, they are pretty much out of the game now. The cavalry escaped, but the infantry themselves were not that so lucky, so there might be the odd pockets of Austrian infantry wandering around trying to make their way home, but the Austrian corps is out of the campaign. Shortly following on, the battle in this area between the French and the Prussian corps, once again the French outnumbered the Prussians, only slightly this time, but Prussians made a big battle of it and held them off, with casualties on both sides were medium, so it wasn't too bad, and the Prussians managed to disengage from the French and are now pretty much where they started, throwing out a screen of cavalry to hold off any French advance. On the French side, both the Renier and Bertrand's corps have amalgamated, so yeah, pretty powerful force on the other side of that river. Whether they're going to go on the offensive or whether they're just going to stand there and rude hand gestures to any Prussians that come anywhere near the river line. On the other side here, the Russians have invested this town. It was only held by some provisional troops, and with an entire Russian corps marching towards them, they, discretion being the best part of valor, they fell back to the Marshal Victor's corps. Marshal Victor's corps itself has been sitting around licking its wounds from the major battle to the north here, and is slowly but surely building numbers, drawing in whatever troops, provisional troops that they can find to make up the numbers. So albeit they're still quite battered, they're slowly getting there. Unfortunately for them, the Russians are moving fast now, sensing victory. In their quarter at least anyway. They have no idea what's going on over here, and neither do the Prussians know what's happening with the Russians either, so an interesting dilemma. The Russians are going to move on to this town here. They've already secured the main crossing of the River Manas. They just want to take this one as well now, and so they'll have more of a control over this quarter of the campaign map. If the Prussians can find out what's going on, or equally the Russians find out what the Prussians are going on, they might be able to amalgamate, but early dice rolling has pretty much indicated that the Russians are going to be withdrawing back to the crossroads, at least at the present time. So this might leave the Russians exposed if these two French corps slide across here and take this position. The Russians are trapped and they'll be compelled to surrender. Equally, if the Prussians, once they've fallen back to here, decide that they're going to make more of a fight of it, they might come across and help the Russians. It's all up in the air at the moment with the campaign, but the next battle we're going to be fighting next weekend is going to be this one. The Russians finally getting into a fight to take this town from the Marshal Victor's slightly weakened corps. More on that next weekend. As always, thanks for watching the videos. Questions, as always, welcome, and put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And as always, bye for now.